Allison. Jim Carrey on loop in your head kind of sounds like a nightmare. Carol was laying out the reality in Washington right now, where the Trump administration is dealing with the reality that he has not yet conceded this race. The Biden team, on the other hand, they are forging full steam ahead. We know that today they unveiled the roughly a dozen-person COVID task force that's going to be tasked with creating an actionable plan out of the 5-step plan that Joe Biden and Kamala Harris presented during the campaign. Obviously, that is the primary focus. But then after that, they have about 4,300 potential appointees for those roles. So that's these staffing positions throughout the government. And then comes speculation season. Thinking about first among them is Ron Klain, someone who's been rumored to be Biden's potential chief. Who our viewers probably see a lot on MSNBC and other programs. Jake Sullivan, someone who's a longtime policy advisor looking for a domestic. Congressman Cedric is possible in the role of legislator, something that could be happening. She would be the youngest press secretary and the first black woman to have that role. So a lot of speculation happening right now. By no means is this is kind of the initial list that's coming out as the transition begins its early work.
Very cool to see the names that are starting to announcements there. Carol, a question for you. HUD Secretary Ben Carson, David Bossie, who is hanging about these new cases.
Yeah, these are the chief of staff of Secretary Carson, who said that he's resting at his house in these sorts of outbreaks at the White House. And most notably, we have the East Room for this app, Amy Coney Barrett's announcement as President Trump's Supreme Court nominee. So we'll have to sort of fend from themselves. So there's a concern there. And then when you look at in this legal fight, so we don't know where this is headed and who else will get.
Allie, last question for you. Joe Biden focusing his remarks today on the coronavirus.
What they mean to prioritize on this first official day of transitioning into the leaders of general under the Obama administration. We've actually just found out that he's going to be briefing Senate Democrats, probably going to be hearing a little bit more from as they ramp up with this task force's work and the work of putting go from the start. Another name that might stand out, though, is Dr. Rick Bright. He was one of the whistleblowers. It's bipartisan. It's based on science. It's based on experts. That's the way that Biden said. Do you think?
I apologies, but thank you for that. All right, I could read the introduction to this next story that we have scripted here in the prompter, but I'm not going to do that because it really doesn't matter. What I need to tell you is that coming up next, we have NBC News national political correspondent Steve Kornacki, America's favorite human being on earth, and he has changed both his khakis and his shirt. It's now blue. Take a look.
All right, well, they are still counting votes, but we know 3 states that he flipped. It's possible he'll end up flipping a couple more, but there are 3 states that Joe Biden by less than a point in 2016. Although it's interesting to look inside here because it looked like Biden had it in the bag or something close to it. Here's the final result. Biden's going to win this in 2016. Donald Trump won Wisconsin by just about 20,000 votes. Wisconsin. Why did Biden finish on top and Hillary Clinton fell short? A lot of it has to do, Trump wins this by 12 points, right? Check out what happened in 2016. He drops from nearly 20 points to 12 points. And Trump just didn't rely on. That goes a long way to telling you why Joe Biden